All right, so I am here with one of my students. I'm in a Discord call with him. His name is Krish. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, I just want to make a video about this because it's just insane to me. So basically, he's been hitting me up for about 4 or 5 months, and a lot of people do this. But 99% of people who keep hitting me up, they eventually give up or they just fail and just they don't understand. And he sent me a lot of setups that like are good setups, so I could tell he definitely knew what he's doing. Like this setup he sent me, this was 227. Clearly good inverse. He knows what he's doing. It's everything I teach. So again, that's fine. Same with this, which this is a very good trade as well. This was an excellent trade. He didn't even scale here. I took this trade as well. I sold a little earlier though, but yeah, I mean he hit me up and he was basically I told him the demo trade. I'll go back to this conversation in a little bit, but basically what happened is he kind of asked me he kind of talked about him starting off. I'm like, okay, you should demo trade first. And then he kind of learned my strategy, and I said, do not buy a prop firm account until you can make or hit 53K on a demo account, because obviously you don't want to train eval, and no one ever listens when I say that. I mean, he listens, which is good on him because no one listens, and that will help you. Okay, trust me. So he ends up. I'll show you the conversation later, but he ends up basically making 53K. Then he buys an eval, and on the eval he goes down to 48.2K. Keep in mind the drawdown was 48K, and you can see he goes all the way down, and he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey man, I really need some advice. I'm at 48.2K right now." So I basically tell him like, "Okay, I've just sized down, but here's the thing: most people who go down this low, they'll blow it. 99% of people, because what they'll do is they'll just full port it and they'll try to get back, and then what they'll do is um they'll just buy another account. But he tried to keep going because it was his first eval. So you can clearly see right here, he just like this is incredible, and this is his curve, which I'll talk about later. So I just have a couple questions for him, because this is just insane to me. I just don't see this happen very much. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Someone revives an account after, and he reached out to me. I'm like, he asked me for advice, and he sized down when he's in drawdown, and he sized up when he was in profit. You can actually see he does size down here, and then he sized up when he goes in profit again, which is kind of cool. But just really, really nice trading. So, Krish, I just have a couple questions for you. So, when you reached out to me, like, did you know anything about, like, how do you find my model? How do you find iFVG model?
Initially, I started trading crypto again around late December during winter break of college. So
Okay.
I've been I've tried trading crypto in like 2021, 22, failed both
Yeah.
times. And again, that time I made the mistake of not paper trading at all. I just put in like $200 both
Yep.
times, lost all of it, straight to zero. So
Yeah.
this time around, I was like, okay, let's try Forex. So I looked up uh, SMC or ICT. I don't know what I looked up exactly on YouTube, but it was one of these two. I searched up best SMC or best ICT trading YouTuber, and I see Casper's video, Casper SMC. So I go to his
Yeah.
channel, didn't really like anything. But then I saw this one title saying this 21-year-old trader shares his 80% win rate or something. So that's where this was around like first few weeks of January, maybe.
Yeah.
So I clicked on that and I was like, okay, so this guy is like relatively about the same age as me. And so I just started watching your videos. And at the time, I think the best video I liked of yours was where you went through your entire strategy A to Z. It was about like a 25-minute video. I just watched
Yeah.
that, made notes on it, and just that's how I found you and your model and your
Okay.
channel.
And that must have been around like January, because that's when you hit me up.
Yeah, true. And that's when I joined your Discord as well.
Yeah, because you said January 9th, your Discord is generally the best server I've ever been in. And
Yeah.
a lot of people write me this. You don't know how many times I get this message a day. So like I just kind of reply
Yeah.
thank you, and sometimes I miss your replies. So um
Yeah. Which
maybe
is
that's
fair. You
kind of
have a lot
cool.
of stuff to go through.
Yeah. So like, did you have any strategy before my FEG strategy?
No. So another fun fact, I've never really watched the complete 2022 mentorship.
I mean, I know people who get halfway through it and then they find a profitable model, and if that's the case, you don't need to watch the whole thing. It's good to watch it for screen time, but once
Yeah.
you find that model, I feel like you don't need to watch the whole thing because you'll understand the concepts. Like, oh, here's liquidity sweep, here's an invert. Like you'll understand it, but
Yeah, that makes
um,
sense. So the main
yeah,
reason I really watched ICT was because I never really understood what draw on liquidity meant. And like when it came
yeah,
to bias and just finding good fair value gaps at work. So all of this just made me think, let's just put in the 50, 60 hours and watch the entire ICT 2022 mentorship.
yeah,
And then while I started that, I started to dabble more with iFVGs, just watching your videos, and I realized, okay, fair, I can learn a lot from just Dodgy's channel. So I just started
yeah,
watching your videos then.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Um, all right. And why did you? When I said the demo trade, like, were you like, I'm not gonna demo trade. I'm just gonna buy an account right away. Like, why do you listen to me?
So again, I lost like easily $400 in crypto. So and that's when I just put in real money directly without like zero paper trading. I would just be like, okay, here's three indicators, three times the confirmation, boom, perfect strategy. That's what I used to do. So
Yeah.
when you told me this, I was like, okay, so I've learned a lot by myself, losing a lot of money in the markets. And this guy, like looking at watching all the videos, I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. Let's just listen to him and give it a shot. So that's what made me just listen to you.
Okay. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
because most people I tell them that they don't listen. And how long did it take you to get to from 50 to 53K in demo? Do you remember? Because you kept saying the
In
52K
demo,
was a psychological barrier. Remember?
yeah. Like 51 to 52K was somewhere where I was stuck a lot. So I think I
Yeah.
started it around January 20, like late January 20, like 25th January ish. I
Yeah.
did that in a month. And then I had my mid-semester exams. So, and I was going home after that. So I went home after that, spoke to my parents about this, and that's when I bought an eval.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Um. Now on a demo account though, like, what made you like not like full port to play? Like, because it's a demo, it's obviously not real money. Like, what made you want to follow the rules, follow the like trade it like you would like a real account? Like, why didn't you just choose to like, oh, I'm not doing this. I'm just gonna buy 50,000 contracts here for to be funny.
Okay. So, two reasons. One is mainly I treated it like as I would treat an eval or a PA.
Yeah,
So
but a
that's
lot
one
of
thing.
people can't do that. A lot of people can't do
Yeah,
that, so that's good.
yeah, fair enough. And another thing was to just build up my discipline, patience, and psychology. Because, like, I
Yeah,
remember back then when I was doing like paper trading, like, I used to be happy with a day of, say, 20 points on one mini, which is like $400. I used to be ecstatic when I saw that trade. Now, like, the trade which I took to just pass my eval was like $500. And I was like, okay, that's half of my like usual winning trade. So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just that building the conviction, just learning everything while paper trading is probably the best thing you can do because there's nothing on the line.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When I tried paper trading doing that, I would be like, yeah, I took a loss. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take 5 contracts to make this back when I typically trade because it was paper. I didn't care. So it's good you're
Yeah,
able to
fair.
do that. A lot of people can't do that. So how much on a scale of 1 to 10, how much did trading paper like it was a real account help you to pass the eval on a scale of 1 to 10?
Honestly, like probably like a 9 or a 10 easily.
Okay.
Because the reason I would give it a 9 is because again, with an eval, the first eval has so many emotions and psychology issues involved with it. It's quite crazy the first few weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Like it was for me at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Cool. So yeah. So you got the eval. Just kind of looking at these messages. You got the eval, and it seems like you were playing with really small size to begin with.
Yeah, I mean to start with, I was
So
just like trying
the
to.
first day you were red. The second day you lost $1,000. It looked like.
Yeah, because I was like, okay, one day before FOMC, let's just try trading and see what happens. And so what happened was,
Do not trade before that. Before FMC.
yeah. So yeah, I mean we'll get to that later. So
Yeah.
what I did was there was like an inverse, and I believe so while inversing it, it took like two or three candles, but those were all high momentum. So there was a fair value gap below the so the candle which like inverse the bearish FVG, I don't remember if it was a short or a long. We formed a bullish fair value gap right below it. So we did close below the iFVG, which is what our ideal stop loss is, right? So we did close below, but I was like, okay, fair. We have a market structure shift and a bullish fair value gap, which should that's like the 2022 model. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'll hold it. Let's see. It
Yep.
just it
And then it just
sharply
kept going
went
down.
through it.
So you
Yeah.
didn't stop out when you. So did you learn from that when you were like, oh, this? So basically, what he's saying, guys, is he took an IVG, and let's say he took where's one? So let's say he took this IVG, and let's say he held it here, didn't sell. So he's like, oh, here's a liquidity sweep. I'm gonna hold, and he holds it, and then eventually he just keeps going down, and he must have just held it. So what made you like when you were going through that? What made you like end up stopping out?
So I don't know. I just watched it go against me a bit,
And then
and
you're
I'm
like,
pretty
yeah, I'm gonna
sure
get
like
out.
yeah, because that was my daily loss limit as well. So I was like,
Yeah,
let's just
yeah,
close it out, do
yeah.
something else, get my mind off it. So
So he
ever
hit,
since then, I've not
yeah.
touched FOMC or day before FOMC.
So when you hit that daily loss limit, and it's good they have those on there. When you hit that daily loss limit, um, are you were you like, oh, I'm just gonna full port the account next day, or were you like really trying to make that back? Because a lot of people think, oh,
So
I'm gonna
I
try to full port the account next day.
Yeah, fair. So, I mean, I did have those thoughts, I won't lie, but I tried to suppress them as much as I could. So I created two rules that day for myself. So I remember and this was a time after I left your premium because again, $100 in India is like quite a bit of money.
Yeah,
So
I know. That
yeah, at the
definitely.
time I wasn't in your premium, but the entire month that I was in your premium, I made a lot of notes. Like all of your rules were in there, like everything's in there.
Yep.
So those notes, I looked at your risk management rules, and I was like, this guy has his own daily loss limit, which is like two losses a day. I don't know how much you risk exactly, so like
Yeah.
I kind of derived that on my own. So for me, I risk $150 per trade on a 50K account. So I was like, okay, fair. One rule, don't lose more than $300 a day, and which is technically two losses. But again, in the event that a stop doesn't work out well or like a sharp move down, maximum it could go to is like maybe 250 or 300, and that's what's
Yeah.
happened
Yep.
recently.
Yep.
So if that happens in just one trade, I'm done for the day. Log off, do something else. And the other rule I created was no trading before FOMC or before NFP and on the day of NFP and on the day of FOMC. I've never done that ever since like I guess that was like March 20th is the date or something.
Yeah, I don't do that either. I'll like buy an eval account
Yeah,
to gamble, but I don't do that either. So after the
yeah.
losing day, you're like, okay, I'm gonna create some rules for myself. And then what happened on the seventh day? You went when you went to 48.2K. Do you remember?
So I don't really remember exactly, but I think again it was like a psychology issue or probably an execution issue.
I
Because
think you took.
oh,
So you think
I
you're
do remember. I do remember
okay.
what happened. So we almost inversed a bullish fair value gap. Like I was planning on a short. So what
Yep.
happened was we closed like by the tick, like right on the fill of the fair value gap, and we opened below it. So there was a volume imbalance.
Yeah.
So that kind of threw me off, and I shorted it
And you
instantly.
short.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it just ran. It just ran
Yeah.
against the
That's
position.
yeah. Okay, I get that. So it's kind of one of those weird IFVGs where there's a volume imbalance and IFVG. Yeah, you typically want to wait for both
Yeah,
those, but okay.
yeah, true, true.
Yeah, and then it just probably wrecked you. Okay,
Yeah.
that's valid. And then like you must have saw a really textbook setup the next day, I'm guessing. Cause
Um,
you made about $1,000 the next day.
Yeah, so what I did was I half my size. So I wasn't taking more than 2 to 5 micros, not even a mini.
Yeah. Yep.
So like I would use NQ for analysis and MNQ for executions because again the
Yep.
wicks could be kind of messed up on MNQ. So I did
Yeah.
that. I took I think 4 micros on that trade and it just hit really well. Or five
Okay.
micros, I don't really
I
remember
think you
exactly. I
sent
just sized down a lot.
you sent me some like 5 hour trade and you never even scale that. I'm like, oh my god, okay, this guy just made bank just with 4 micros. I remember you told me about that trade. And I think you probably took another setup that day too. You must have made like 500 of both, but um, yeah, and then you kind of started sizing up a little bit. I could probably tell. Like, did you size up when you went back to 50K again?
Yeah,
Like,
when I went back to 50K, I went back to one mini. Like I was like, okay, my max drawdown hasn't increased. It's still at 48K. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna go back to original size and forget about everything that happened before that.
yeah, and then you almost hit it again on the 14th day. That was close.
Yeah,
Looks like
yeah.
you definitely. So you clearly on day 17, 16, 15, 14, you took losses 3 days. You clearly followed your rules here.
Yeah,
You
because you
must.
can see that none of the losses are more than $300.
Yeah, yeah. That's you very very well done. You definitely followed your rules there. And then you must have hit another. There's probably an A plus setup here. Probably an A plus setup here. Follows your rules again. This is really super nice. And then you sent me the execution to pass the account. Um, or
Yeah,
is it? This was the final one. So you sent me this. You made 500 and 1,000. He made 1,000. If you guys see this setup right here, this is the he made 1,000 in this one. Very very good trade here. Um, these 2 minis. And again, you guys got to realize this is 4R. He's only risking like $160 here. That's crazy. Like 8.3 to 7.5. So that's 8.3 to 7.5. That is about 8 points times 2, which is 16 times 20. Okay, so 16 times 20 would be 320, right? Yes, three. So
yeah,
he's basically 320 here, and it's a 4R play, so he's making above 1,000, which is crazy. Um, and he can risk 320 because he's risking $300 per day. That's very
yeah.
very good risk management. So,
I mean, twenty
um,
dollars isn't gonna like make me fail my eval. So
yeah, exactly. So this is his first eval. This really incredible work by you. I don't know a lot of people who can do this. I don't know if I'd be able to save myself here, even here. Just this is what happens when you follow your rules, guys, because he's following his rules, even though he takes 3 red days in a row, he's not going below 300. And then when we get a day where we get some insane setup like this, he's making all that back plus way more because you're literally risking 300 to make 1,000. It's just so good RR. And there's equal highs above here. These are so incredibly high probability to hit, and he knows that. So he doesn't sell for 2R. He doesn't sell for 1R. He waits to the equal highs, knowing that the RR is pretty good in this. So it's just you can see when you follow your rules, it's gonna help you. It might not help you that day because you might lose and you might see another A plus setup and it might work, but it's going to help you because every single day it won't be bad. You probably had bad price action these days, but he follows his rules. He doesn't revenge trade, whatever, and you can see he capitalizes on those days, which are just really good. Same thing here. He follows his rules. He doesn't take more losses than I need to, and then we finally get a couple good days, and it allows him to pass his account. So yeah, I mean, he's been talking to me about for about 5 months. He was asking me for advice, like, what do I do? I'm at 48 point. I'm just sized down, but I don't really. I'm not gonna lie. Like, whenever I tell someone to size down with $200 drawdown left, they usually end up failing it. But he ended up bringing it back from the dead, which is just incredible because again, a lot of people don't do this. So, um, thank you for your time. If you could give one message to the audience, what would it be? Let me wait. Before
just
that, I want to ask you one question. Do you think the
yeah,
strategy is more important, or do you think following your rules is more important?
following your rules. Honestly,
Yeah,
you could have a 95% win rate, but again, if you don't follow your rules, you could have like some really bad days.
yeah, I know exactly that. Yep. And then if you could tell the audience one message, what would it be?
Paper trade, build your discipline, patience, psychology. because you can learn your technicals from anywhere. Just Dodgy's YouTube videos are enough. And once this boot camp's completed, I mean, that's like probably the next ICT 2022 mentorship out there. It's like a gold mine. So other than that, just paper trade everything you learn and just build up your confidence. That's
Yeah,
probably the best thing you could hear.
building up confidence is key because there's like when you first started learning iFVGs, you needed to kind of trade a lot of them first, right? And then you started to realize like which ones are good and which ones weren't good, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like how you used to say in your premium, like uh, look at the market and like by liquidity, not through iFVGs.
Yeah, exactly. Look for liquidity, not iFVGs. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. That's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming on and doing this interview, and I will see you guys later. Peace.